There's a great scene in this week's Torah portion that lets us gain some insight into the personalities and relationships of some of the patriarchs and the matriarchs. Abraham has sent his faithful servant Eliezer on a mission to find a wife for Isaac. And Eliezer has succeeded. He's found Rebekah, and he's bringing her back to meet her husband, Isaac. But Isaac isn't home with Abraham, because interestingly, at the same time that Abraham had sent his servant Eliezer to find a wife for his son Isaac, Isaac went out to find a new wife for his father Abraham, because Sarah, Abraham's wife, had died. And so Isaac has gone out to go bring back Hagar so that Abraham, can remarry her. And so Isaac is out in the field, and he's praying as the camels come carrying Eliezer and Rebekah. And the Torah tells us that Isaac raises his eyes, and he sees the camels. The camels? Any other guy would have seen the girl on the camels, would have checked out the girl who's going to be his wife. But Isaac, the master of self-restraint, of discipline, doesn't check out girls, even if it's one that's going to be his wife. So he focuses on the camels. Rebekah sees Isaac praying, and she sees him walking towards them, and she's thunderstruck. She falls off of the camel, and she stammers to Eliezer, "Who is that man?" And he says back to her, I suspect with a smile, "That is my master," meaning that's your new husband. Now, I love this scene because it's practically, word for word, exactly what happened when I first met my wife. Well, maybe not exactly, because she wasn't riding a camel, and she didn't fall off of it, and she wasn't exactly thunderstruck. Well, the truth is that she actually doesn't even remember when we first met, which is kind of embarrassing because I remember exactly where we were. But it was in Israel, so maybe we at least have that in common. But back to our story. One biblical commentator posits that God had to work this whole scene so that Rebekah's first meeting with Isaac was not in Abraham's home. Because if it had been, Abraham would have had the first chance, the first crack to talk to her. Abraham, the paragon of kindness, whose picture should be in the dictionary next to the word kindness, smiling. He would have had the chance to sit her down, welcome her in, give her some food. The same man who, after circumcising himself at the age of 99 and then planting himself outside his tent to look for guests, would have welcomed her in and said, "Listen, I want to talk to you. My son is very, very intense, but I don't want you to get scared. I don't want you to get intimidated or have any fear. He's a fantastic guy, so just don't worry, calm down." And had he done that, everything would have been different. But instead, because he didn't get a chance to do that, Rebekah had that pachad Yitzchak, that fear or awe of Isaac throughout their marriage. Very different from the relationship that Abraham and Sarah had. Sarah, when she had something to say to Abraham, she told him. Very different from the relationship between Rachel and Jacob. Rachel was no shrinking violet. She would also tell Jacob when she had something to say. But not Rebekah and Isaac, because Rebekah always had that awe. And that explains why in the coming chapters, when the twins are kicking and raising a ruckus inside her, Rebekah doesn't ask Isaac for advice or ask him what's going on. She asks someone else. And it explains that peculiar but key scene when instead of telling her husband, "You can't give a blessing to Esav, he's a terrible guy, you have to give it to Jacob." Instead, she has to create that subterfuge, forcing her son Jacob to impersonate his brother Esav in order to get the blessing that he needs and that he deserves. And so maybe the Torah is teaching us a lesson here. God has his reasons why he stops what would otherwise certainly have been an act of kindness from Abraham. But maybe the lesson is that one act of kindness, right time, right place, right person to the other right person, can change history. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's the same price, the same effort as being cruel or apathetic. One act of kindness can change history.